Welcome to Music Class Disciples. Today we're learning the first part of the Over the Rainbow tutorial. We're learning the first 8 measures to begin, and it sounds like this. That's the first part we're learning. You'll notice that's sort of a different arrangement. That's my own arrangement. You can see the cover. I'll link to the cover in this video. So the first thing you need to be able to do is to see this A flat. There are 4 flats in this song, so you gotta. Well, we'll take it one note at a time. You got this A flat in your right hand, and your right hand is mostly playing the melody. Somewhere. So if you can sort of hear it in your head or even sing it, that'll help you phrase the music. So your right hand plays with the thumb an A flat, and you notice that your left hand immediately starts like walking down. So it goes. It's as if your left hand is playing that note. Or you can think about it as if both hands are playing that note. So you've got the A flat, the left hand plays a G, your left hand continues down to an F while this right hand jumps up an octave to this other A flat. So first measure, A flat, G with the left hand, F with the left hand to an A flat in the right hand. And then the right hand is going to go down to a G. So I'll just show you the right hand for this next measure. First, you're going to go G, and then you're going to do this straddling move. You're going to sort of move up like this. It's just this moving thing. So you've got G and E flat. You go up to an A flat and an F. Rain, that's a B flat and a G. Bow is a C and an A flat. So let me show you the first 2 measures, just the right hand. A flat to an A flat, down to a G, then moving up. Okay, while your right hand is doing that, your right hand is sort of outlining almost like a C major chord. Well, you've got a C, a G, and a C, an octave down. So you end on middle C with your left hand. So let me show you that together. The first 2 measures, A flat, walk down, A flat. You're going to be doing this C outline, like a C5 kind of. You go to a G here, and walk up. That's the first 2 measures, okay? And then you're going to jump down here, you're going to play an F and an A flat, while I'll show you the right hand, F and an A flat, way up, and you jump up to this F. That's like way up, high is next, way up. While you're doing that way up with your left hand, you're going to be doing kind of like a D flat 5 outline, so you're going to go D flat, A flat, D flat, when you go to up, you move to an E flat 5 outline, so an E flat, a B flat, and an E flat. Okay? Way up high. And this next measure is a little bit interesting. So the rhythm is going to be a little bit, the music will be above here, so you can refer to that if you know what that means. Otherwise, I'll try and explain it. Kind of like almost gets a little bit off center and bounces between the right and the left hand. Okay? So what your right hand is doing there, an F and a D flat, way up, a G and an E flat, and then a C and an F. That's the movement in the right hand. So you probably want to get that movement down before you try to add the left hand. You'll notice if you look at the music, the left hand starts with an 8th note, if you know what that means. Otherwise, just understand that you start with a note that's a little bit shorter than the one that you're starting with your right hand. And then everything sort of gets normal in the right hand, so that makes it sound like it's off kilter a little bit. So it's basically an A flat 5 chord that your left hand is outlining. So similar to the other moves that your left hand is making, this like sort of walk up, the A flat, E flat, and A flat in the left hand. So if you can try and combine those 2 moves, you'll see that like my left thumb is overlapping my right thumb. You might want to just play this shape with your left hand, that A flat, E flat, A flat, and then just walk your right hand up to kind of get feel for how that right hand moves relative to that left hand, you know? And then what you want to do is sort of almost like sort of arpeggiate the left hand. So it's like together for the first note, and then the left hand plays a note, and then the right hand plays, and then the left hand plays, then the right hand plays. So the only time they're together is the first sort of chord. Okay, so that's the fourth measure. So let's take the first four all together. A flat, walk down to this A flat. Okay, and then you're going to jump down you're going to do this outline with the C, and this sort of move up here. Hopefully you remember that. You jump down to this F and this A flat, and you do this D flat outline. That F, and then you've got this weird move. Alright, so that's the first four measures. So then that's sort of like the questions, that's sort of like the first half of your sentence, your musical sentence. It almost like leaves it hanging. You need to sort of finish that phrase. And the next part sounds like this. See how it kind of feels like ended? Well, that little last measure kind of sets you up to go back into it, but you kind of hear how it sounds a little bit more ended. So the fifth measure, so this is sort of like the second half of this part, you go, I'll just show you the right hand. Now the normal melody is like this. Oh, my ear's off today. But instead of going right up to that second note like you would in the normal melody, I actually have this arrangement come a little bit higher to this E flat. So you're going F, E flat, D flat, C, D flat, C. That's the first sort of like sequence there. It's almost like a long appoggiatura, if you know what that means. Hold on. Whoa, big sneeze. Excuse me. So F, E flat, D flat, C, D flat, and then C. We'll go into the next measure later. Let me see if I can show you how the right hand joins the left hand there. So the left hand is the same as the third measure. You're doing this D flat walk up, like a D flat 5 walk up, and that moves to an E flat 5 walk up. So, and that's all in that measure. So watch how I put it together. You got this F while you're doing the D flat walk up. When you hit this note, you're going to start doing the E flat 5 walk up. So all the notes are almost all together in that second part, except the last one in your right hand plays by itself. Okay, then you move on, and with your left hand, I'll show you your left hand next. For this part, you're going to just be doing an F5 walk up. So that's an F, C, and an F for the first half, while your right hand is playing C, A flat, B flat, and then you're going to play the A flat and the C together like that. So C, A flat, B flat. You're going to play the A flat and the C together with your right hand, and at the same time with your left hand you're going to play an E flat and a G flat. Then you just end that measure by going up a half step to that D flat with your right hand. So let me show you the fifth measure and the sixth measure together, okay? So we've got this D5 sort of walk up thing, up to this E flat while you move up to the E flats here, to the F5, these together. Okay, now the next measure, the seventh measure, you want to think about a V shape here. I always think about this V, and that helps me get right into this spot. So you've got a D flat, an F, and a B flat. And this measure sounds like this. And goes on from there. So that V is a D flat, F, and B flat. Then you've got this kind of, you have a C sus4 chord, you got a C, an F, and a G, and that's sort of like it's creating a little bit of tension so that this G wants to go up to this A flat. So you've got this F, you move that G up to the A flat. Let's see where we are. play this chord, which is a B flat, a D flat, an F, and a B flat. Now this is the hardest part probably. You've got an E flat, sort of like an E flat 5 walk up. You see that? That probably looks familiar, that shape. E flat, B flat, and E flat with your left hand, while your right hand sneaks the thumb under. This is the hard part. Plays a D flat, a G, and a C, and on top of all that you have to roll it from the bottom to the top. So if you do this right, this note comes before this one. Kind of have to keep your hands like a little bit relaxed. You have to get this finger all the way back to the back of the keyboard so you have enough room to get this under here. Okay? And then you play an A flat with your right hand and you're playing A flats with your left hand, and you go right into this sort of almost like a turnaround. So you really want to kind of hear that melody if you can in your head. So you get A flats, A flat, E flat, back to the A flat, up to a C. That's the first half of that last measure. And then you do that awkward shape again, that one I showed you just like a few seconds ago. That E flat, B flat, E flat in your left hand, the C flat, G, and C, the D flat, G, and C in your right hand. To a B flat in your right hand, and then up to an E flat in your right hand, and you sort of end it with this low E flat that your pinky's already playing. So let me show you that 7th measure again. You've got the A flats, and you start on the A flat here. And that's part 1. Hey, thanks for watching. I want to let you know that this video is made possible by the generous support of my patrons, members of JoeRaciti.com, and by my awesome subscriber base. Thank you all so much for your support. It means so much to me. If you want to take your support to the next level, if you think that my goal of bringing high quality music education to the entire world is a meaningful goal and one that we can accomplish together, I hope you'll consider taking one of those 3 basic actions to support me. They're small things to do, but they make a huge difference. I'm one person creating many, many videos for the whole world. Every little bit of support counts. So I hope you'll consider. Check out the annotations in this video over, oh, here we go. Woo! Check out these annotations and check out the links in the description field of the video. Those 3 actions do a lot for me. I'll see you again really soon. Bye-bye. Don't forget about the links. Bye-bye. And they're in the description too. Bye. And you know, you can stick around for a little while. I mean, if you want to see me make a total fool out of myself. Also, it's about to rain, so I'll probably get totally soaked in a second if you just wait long enough. Actually, maybe you should just click on the links and go, because it's going to be embarrassing and I'm going to get wet and it's going to look weird. You know, I just think, you should probably just leave. Yeah. I'm going to leave soon, so you probably should. Bye.